The Republic of Chechnya is a Russian federal subject located in the North Caucasus Federal District. The administrative center is Grozny. The titular nation of Chechnya is the Chechens. Chechnya is a small but intensely significant republic in the northeastern Caucasus, where geography, history, and collective memory have combined to produce one of the strongest regional identities in the Russian Federation. Located on the northern slopes of the Caucasus Mountains, it transitions from highland gorges and forested foothills in the south to plains in the north. This varied terrain has long shaped Chechen society, encouraging village-based social organizations, defensive settlement patterns, and a deep attachment to land and ancestry. Mountains provided refuge and autonomy, while the lowlands connected Chechnya to wider trade and political networks. The indigenous people of Chechnya are the Chechens, who call themselves Nakhchi. They speak a Northeast Caucasian language unrelated to Russian, Turkic, or Iranian languages, reflecting the region's deep prehistory. Chechen society traditionally revolved around tapes or extended clan groups, which structured social life, mutual responsibility, and conflict resolution. Honor, hospitality, courage, and loyalty to family and community were central values, reinforced by customary law known as adat. These traditions developed in an environment where centralized authority was historically weak and local autonomy was essential for survival. Islam became firmly established among the Chechens between the 16th and 18th centuries, primarily in its Sunni form, influenced by Sufi brotherhoods. Rather than replacing earlier customs, Islam blended with Adat, creating a moral framework that emphasized justice, restraint, and communal responsibility. Religious leaders often played important social and political roles, particularly during periods of resistance to external rule. Russian expansion into Chechnya began in earnest in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, as the Russian Empire sought to secure control over the Caucasus. This led to decades of conflict during the Caucasian War, in which Chechens and other mountain peoples resisted imperial conquest. Figures such as Imam Shamil became symbols of organized resistance, combining religious authority with military leadership. Although the empire eventually prevailed, Chechnya was never fully pacified in a cultural or psychological sense, and memories of resistance became central to Chechen historical identity. The Soviet period brought modernization alongside profound trauma. Chechnya was incorporated into Soviet administrative structures, and urbanization, education, and industry expanded. However, the most devastating event occurred in 1944 when Stalin ordered the mass deportation of the entire Chechen and Ingush populations to Central Asia, accusing them collectively of collaboration with Nazi Germany. The deportation was brutal. Tens of thousands died from cold, hunger, and disease. Chechnya was erased from the map, its territory redistributed, and its cultural presence suppressed. Only in 1957 were the Chechens allowed to return and their republic restored. The memory of exile remains one of the most powerful elements of Chechen collective consciousness. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, tensions between Chechnya and the Russian state escalated rapidly. In the early 1990s, Chechnya declared independence, leading to two devastating wars between Russian Federal Forces and Chechen fighters. The First Chechen War caused massive destruction and civilian suffering, while the Second Chechen War, beginning in 1999, resulted in Moscow reasserting control over the republic. These conflicts profoundly reshaped Chechen society, destroying infrastructure, displacing populations, and leaving deep psychological scars. Few families were untouched by loss. In the post-war period, Chechnya underwent reconstruction under a political system closely aligned with the Kremlin. Large-scale rebuilding transformed Grozny from a ruined city into a modernized capital with new mosques, high-rise buildings, and infrastructure. Stability returned in a security sense, but political life became highly centralized, and dissent was tightly controlled. The republic developed a distinctive governance model that emphasizes loyalty, order, and the revival of traditional and religious symbols, often framed as a restoration of Chechen dignity after decades of suffering. Culturally, Chechnya has experienced a strong reaffirmation of identity. Chechen language, music, dance, and poetry remain central to public life. Traditional clothing, martial sports, and ceremonial customs have regained visibility. Islam plays a prominent role in social norms and public expression, though interpretations and enforcement vary between official narratives and private practice. Family and clan ties continue to shape social relations, providing support networks in a society still recovering from war. Economically, Chechnya remains dependent on federal subsidies, with limited industrial development outside construction, public services, and small-scale agriculture. Unemployment and underemployment persist, especially among youth, though state-funded projects and security sector employment provide some stability. Despite economic challenges, demographic growth is high compared to many other Russian regions, reflecting strong family structures and social cohesion. Chechnya's modern identity is inseparable from its history of resistance, loss, and survival. The experience of conquest, deportation, war, and reconstruction has forged a society intensely conscious of honor, memory, and collective endurance. Within the Russian Federation, Chechnya stands apart not only because of its turbulent recent past, but because of the strength with which its people continue to assert a distinct cultural and historical self-understanding shaped by centuries of struggle in one of Eurasia's most complex regions. Like, comment, and share to support this channel. Subscribe for more hidden corners of the world.